How are you doing, my sociopaths? Here is Maurice from Motivation, and guys, this is the best Olympia in a long time. To be honest, here is your top 31st, if you wanna call it like that. The top 31st guys on the world, the best 30 bodybuilders on the world. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's because it's so stunning. When I was making the video, it was like, damn, bro, those are a lot of bodybuilders. Yeah, so, but well, whatever. Let's get started with this. So, first of all, there are some guys which are off of the list, like Nathan Diasha, and some to 12 guys, as Sean Clarita and our guy Angel Calderon. But besides those guys, well, obviously, most of them have pretty much confirmed that they are doing the Olympia, or at least haven't dropped out officially. So I am going to be counting the other 31 guys for this Olympia contest. This is reminiscent of those 90 Olympia contests where Ronnie was placing that last. It's crazy good, this, to be honest, for the sport. It really showcases that the sport is getting a lot better. So let's get started with our 31st guy. He is Leandro Perez. He did won a Brazilian show. He's Brazilian, and I personally believe that he has a lot of potentials, as a lot of Brazilian sensations that are popping out here and there. And well, we basically have three Brazilian athletes on this contest. I just hope he gets better overall and he's able to continue cracking these placings. I have him in 31st because from the show that I saw him, he was really shallow and it was not like the best package overall. And here in this specific lineup, everyone is bringing their A game. So you guys can imagine how stacked and how hard it is going to be for everyone to even crack top 15. So then we have our guy Andrea Musi, one of the Andreas. Andrea Musi, it's not that he's bad because he has a really decent structure and also he has some really decent flow. The thing with our guy is that I personally feel that he's burned out and he needs just an off season to put on mass and to in general improve in the areas that he needs to, especially like from the front, in the front lat spread. As you can see, he's not the best on that pose. Then our next guy, Mohamed Al-Nsor. So this guy took off the qualification from Song Chun Lee. He won the Monsters in Pro. And guys, I don't really know if he's even gonna make it, but he was looking really decent at that show. He does not have like the best structure overall, and he's somewhat of a taller guy, so he needs to fill out his frame a little bit more. But besides that, he can be a factor in any lineup. But I don't really know if he's even gonna make it, so that's why I have it on 29th. The next guy, or our 28th place, Joel Thomas Jr. And you guys are going to be like, what? But he just won the show Toronto Pro during 2021. He had a complete off season, and that's true, guys. But in his prep pictures, you can see that he's stomach, he has an hernia that is protruding a little bit, and I personally believe that that is going to hurt him. Plus, he's not like the thickest and biggest guy yet. He's getting there, but he's not there still. But probably going forward, he's going to be in a higher placing if he keeps improving at the pace he is doing. And then we have the top 27, the next crop of guys. It's the 27th through the 22nd, 23rd guys. Here we have Peter Buff. He's really good, but his waist is somewhat blocky and he does not really have the size to hang up with some of the other top guys. To be real honest, guys, in the Olympia there are like three type of physiques. It's like the aesthetic guy, the massive guy, and the condition guy. And then the battle it out. So it pretty much is like levels. Peter Buff is like the this kind of hard, grainy condition dude that does not has the best structure, but that he is in shape pretty much always. So being a lookup for him going forward. He lost to Rafa Brandeo at the Arnold Classic Brazil, but besides that, he has a lot of potential. Then we have Tiola Greer, who won Europa Pro. This guy is looking really great, and his structure also is really great. It's very similar to Andrea Musi, to be honest, guys. I just feel that he's a little bit better, and he's not that burned out as Musi. But be in the lookout for Tio. Then our next guy, Moshi Ban, and you're going to be like, what? How a top 10 Olympian went from top 10 to 25th? And here is the reason. Even though he's a little bit improved, the thing with Moshi Ban is he just got an injury in the back, and we don't really know how he's gonna look. He just lost to Andrea Presti at the show which Brett will can win, if I'm not mistaken, it is, which is the Big Man Weekend. Obviously, he was not like in top-notch shape as he's going to be at the Olympia, but I don't really know where he's going to stand for. I think that he has a lot of potential if he can nurse his injury correctly. But guys, I'm really worried about Mo Shiban. He's a really good competitor. I like his physique once I talk about his legs, and that he may have like Biharami potential. But guys, I don't know. This is so stacked, and he just lost to Andrea Presti like a week ago. So it is going to be an interesting battle on the Olympia to see where he places, and I really hope that the judges give a place to each one of the guys, because all of them have been working a lot and they kinda deserve to at least have a place in my personal opinion, clearly. Then we obviously have in 24th Andrea Presti. And our guy Presti, he just won the Portugal Pro. Basically, he's the reigning champion for that show. He have been already at the Olympia. That's why I have him in 24th over all of these guys. But I don't really have him too high because of the legs, guys. He has a gnarly from double bicep and back double bicep, and some of his side shots are really good too, but he really needs to bring up his legs, though that is his only lacking body part, and that is going to really hurt him on the Olympia stage, especially because we have like a lot of guys with crazy legs. Even Mohamed Shivan has crazy legs, so personally he needs to improve them. I really hope, but at least for this year, he's going to be in the need of sitting out. Then, going next on the list, we have our top 23rd to top 20. Then, we have this 23rd to 20th place. And here we have our guy, Vlad Daimpaler Sukrushko. And guys, Vlad is really good. I have him over Presti. The thing with Vlad is that structurally, he's bigger waist is probably going to hurt him, and he's not as freaky as some other guys who are over him. It happens something similar with Barus, but in the other way around, where he's really aesthetic. He's on shape, but he needs some size. Guys, he was looking small in comparison in certain shots with Brett Wilken, and we all know Brett Wilken needs size, and it's going to happen something very similar to Barros. I'm really happy he got the first Olympia qualification of his career, and I really believe that he's going to be a factor eventually because he's somewhat of a taller guy. And as long as he fills up his frame, he's going to be great. Especially because he's with Milos, and obviously Milos is known for being able to get guys not just shredded but really really big. And then in 21st, I have Justin, and you're going to be like, "What? Justin just was a top 8 Olympian guy. What are you doing?" And guys, let me explain. Let me explain. The thing with Justin is that he's burned out. He have changed a lot of coaches. He have been competing a lot during this year, and his body just needs to recover so it does not look that washed out. When he lost to Tonya Burden, uh, to be honest with you guys, I personally believe that it was because not just of the shallowness, because of the waistline, that it was looking even bigger. I personally don't know how Nick Walker bring down his waist with them super slides, but if Justin can do something similar, guys, he will be even better. Because the thing with him is not that he has like bad legs; he has some really decent legs. The thing with him is that his waistline is so wide that is wider than his legs, and that's the catch with Justin. If he can keep like a similar midsection to like Berus, if he were to have a similar midsection like Berus Tabani, he will be unstoppable, guys. Almost unstoppable. He probably will got like runner up at Boston Pro, not sorry, at the Arnold Classic this year, if not winning, because he's that good. I just personally believe he needs a little bit of rest, and he's burned out from doing too many shows. Plus the midsection thing with Justin, that it's a little bit thicker that what probably he would even like. Then going next with our guy Tonio Burden, and Tonio, it's very reminiscent of Dexter W. Jackson. He's in shape, he has that type of somewhat narrow but aesthetic structure, and also he's really really round, and he have been growing into the open class since he made his pro debut a year ago. And basically he did like 5 shows before being able to win over Justin Rodriguez, and also that's why I have him over. I personally believe that he's going to probably be like Dexter Jackson 2.0. And well, guys, we are going to see like a lot of 2.0 versions of older legends in the years to come, especially with these lineups that we are seeing, guys, which are just like insane and crazy. And here is your next guy, Hassan Mustafa. And guys, you're going to ask me, why, how the heck is he in 19th place? And guys, I'm going to answer you. The thing with Hassan is that he does not has the smallest waist. In terms of his structure, he's not the best guy, and when he comes built, he also looks a little bit downsized, so he's going to probably need like a little bit of mass. If I'm not mistaken, he was around like 230 the last time he competed, so it's going to be for sure that he's going to be able to add that mass, especially with AJ Sims, who's a great coach, the former coach of Justin Rodriguez, who bring him to the top 8. Let's not forget that. I personally think that Hassan is going to eventually brought it up. He maybe get an improved package, but he didn't really have that much time to improve. So he's going to be really good at this Olympia, but he's just not going to be there on the top 10 yet. Then we have Akeem Williams, which last year was at 8th place. Now he's at 18th place. That's how deep the lineup is. And the thing with Akeem is that all of us know what happens with conditioning. So I really wish he brings the conditioning that he should be bringing, so he can prove me wrong. But well, guys, it's really like a coin toss with him. let's hope he brings it up, and especially after the injury that he had from the car accident, it was really impressive that he was able to compete. But let's be realistic, guys. We really don't know how Akim Williams is gonna look in terms of his conditioning, so we will just need to wait and see. But who we know is going to be in shape, it's going to be our Canadian guy, in Antoine Valiant. Sorry. He just got a health scare, but he's up and running once again. He just lowered his doses and was much more careful with his dieting, and he's back now. I personally believe he's going to be like around 17th place, especially from the photos I saw where he was looking a lot bigger. And that's the thing with Antoine. He has great legs, but he needs a bigger upper body. So I personally believe that he's going to be improved, not crazy improved like a top 10 finish for him, but he's going to be improved, and he also has a really good structure. So just give him enough time and he's going to be right up there. Similar thing with Patrick. He needs to get like a better back mainly. That was his weaker area, but he was hanging with Andrew Jack really well, who is higher up in this list. And guys, he trains with Brandon Curry. Just think how crazy that is. Who would not love to train with Brandon Curry, a former Mr. Olympia? That should be really inspiring. He's just his training partner, and I personally believe that he's going to be making it for the top 16, but I don't really see him going further than that, especially with the improvements that some guys had made. And especially, like, well, obviously I'm not going to spoil it out, but we have another guy on a higher placing that Patrick beat, but probably is going to be able to beat him this. And in 15th place we have placing a Woribu. You know how the deal is with the boogie, and you know how the deal is with the boogeyman. He loves to talk about this big game that he's going to win the Olympia, etc. But I don't think so, guys. I'm going to be real honest with you, guys. Obviously, everyone knows that Blessing is not going to be there just yet. Eventually, he's going to probably get there because of the structure and the genetics that he has, the round muscle bellies that he has. But not yet, guys. The thing with Blessing is that he's an aesthetic guy, but there are a bunch of aesthetic and bigger guys than him. So personally, I have him on 15, and then we have another type of physique in James Hollingshead. What is crazy to me is that you can see all these guys hitting a vacuum pose on open, or like a semi-vacuum as James does, which is just crazy to think about it. We were seeing like bubble guts all over the place, but now we have like a lot of vacuums being on the open class. So I personally believe that this is a great era to be a fan of bodybuilding, and not just to be a fan, but to really be part of it. And here you can see this is not even like a top 10, and all of these guys look crazy, especially James. As I told you guys, he'll look better at the Tsunami Pro than he look at the Arnold Classic Brazil, and I personally believe that as he already has down the formula, he's going to be looking even better for the Olympia, even though he is going to probably at 14th place at this point. Then we have a similar guy in Charles Griffin. The thing with Charles is that I believe that he's going to be improved after seeing the updates of him and how grainy and hard he's looking. Probably he has like the best back on the FVB, on one of the best right now in the business. So really, I don't see him placing outside of like at least the top 15, to be honest. Any one of these guys from the top 15 can be a top 10 Olympian at this point. This is a free for all. This is where I personally believe that it's going to be more likely because there's someone like with a similar package but better than these guys, or like that already beat them, and well, you know how the deal is, or due to politics, like some guys getting or having the leap over other guys. And then we have Rafa Brandao, and that's the thing, it's another aesthetic guy. I personally believe that Rafa Brandao has a more complete package than Blessing, but is still lacking some size, especially with to hang out with the aesthetic mass monsters on the top 10. That's the deal with Rafa. He needs to be a little bit thicker because yeah, his condition, he is aesthetic, but he's not as conditioned or as aesthetic as some of the other guys, neither as big. So he just needs like that little umph to really be able to crack the top 10. And as I told you guys, eventually he's going to be Mr. Olympia. It's just about time for Rafa Brandao. He has all the tools. He just needs to continue doing what he's doing and slowly putting the muscle on his frame until he feels out and it pretty much becomes unstoppable. I really believe so. But this year he's not there yet. He's going to be, yeah, but not this year. At least not yet. Then after this crop of guys, we have the top 10. We are just getting into it. But before that, let's take a look at Criso. You guys are going to tell me, why does Criso has his top 11 just for him? And the main reason why is because he's a wild card. With the current shape, by how he look at the Olympia Amateur plus the Prague Pro, I don't really see him in the top 11. But here is the catch. We have seen him really pushing his conditioning and really practicing the poses in the last updates. So if he does everything right, and if he does really improve conditioning and posing, he's going to be in 11th place. But I don't really see him over that. I personally believe that guys like Andrew are going to get an edge over Chris, especially from the back. And in top 10 we have Andrew Jack. And basically Andrew Jack is just like a bigger version of Blessing. And that's why he's on the top 10. He's like a bigger version with better legs, in general better than Blessing. He just needs to get a little bit more condition, but I personally believe that he needs to get more thicker from the back. That's why he does not look as conditioned as he can look. He just needs to get a little bit thicker from the back, and his slats probably need to flare out a little bit more, and that's going to be it for him. He's really that good. He does not need a lot more. Something very similar is going to be happening with Samson Doura. The thing with Samson, guys, is that he's like a Chris Cormier, where he does not have like any weaknesses, but he does not has any type of freaky body parts that really stand out. So basically, he is like, what if Chris Cormier were in this era of bodybuilding? So guys, you can imagine, because yeah, I was comparing him with Flex Wheeler, and I also think that he's really reminiscent in certain shots, like the front relax. But after seeing him compare with Chris, I was like, man, he's Chris Cormier 2.0. Basically, it's like the second coming of Chris. I personally believe that Samson has the same potential as Rafa, as Andrew, that he's probably going to get an Olympia eventually. And this year, after the improvements he have just made, I have him on the top 9, guys. Especially by how he stack up with the best version of Justin Rodriguez great version of Willem Bonak, and he mopped the floor a little bit with Steve Kuklo. Obviously, he didn't place over, but in that way, you guys can imagine. And also, I personally, after seeing the updates of our guy, I personally believe that he is more more than improved for this next show. Then I have Hunter dropping to 8. The thing with Hunter is that I don't believe that he really deserved that 4th place the past year. I really have had him even in 8 last year, around there, or at least in 6th place. You can make an argument for him beating Ian, but guys, besides Ian, like Nick Walker or William Bonak, I don't feel Hunter is there yet. The thing with Hunter is that he's really, really watery on stage, and it's not that he does not get that shredded, because right now he's even more shredded than last time. The thing with Hunter is that he looks like he holds like a film of water, and he does not really get in shape. Plus, we all know that his back is not the best, and his midsection is neither the best on that top 4. He's a really good bodybuilder, but I don't see like the package being there. He has like a little bit of a better structure than Ian, but not as good as like Samson's or Jack's. So he's like in that weird spot where he can be the top. He can be a top dog, but I don't really see it, guys. And then in 7th place, I have Ian. And Ian, it's something similar as Hunter. The thing with Ian is that he's really decent at everywhere. He has really decent separation, really good conditioning. He is massive, but he needs just a little more, and once again, a little more. That's the thing with Ian. He's like almost 90% there, but not the 100 one. Like, if he, for example, is like, oh, I see his front double bicep. If he were to have just a little bit better structure, so, oh, he's really separate, he's really dry. But if he were to be just a little bit more carved out as a Harry Chupen with crazy detail, and that's the thing with Ian. For example, his quads can be like a little bit more separated. You feel that with Ian, that if he were to have like a tad bit of better structure, like a tad bit of more muscle, like this and that, he's like almost there, but not there yet. Another good example is like his back poses, where they are really good, but his insertion are not the best, and he looks a little bit washed out in the legs. So it's like he's almost there, but not there yet. Like maybe one day, but this one is not the day. Probably he should get a nickname as the gatekeeper, because basically that's what he have been in the last like 2 Olympias, placing 7th, and I personally believe he's going to place 7th again. In my own opinion, he is the gatekeeper at the Mr. Olympia, to be honest with you guys. That should be his nickname. And guys, we're getting into the top 6 of the Mr. Olympia. Yeah. So in top 6 I have Derek Lansford. I personally don't feel he's going to get it on his first try, like the top 5, because Bonak, it's really, really improved, and he's going to be bigger this year. Nick, the same. Harry Chupen, I see them marking him down due to the Dells controversy. Plus, they told him that he needs more size on the upper body, and I don't know if he's going to really look up to part where he can put on more size without really losing his lines, if you wanna call it. We can't say the lines because Harry Chupen is more like a tank, but the symmetry and the flow of the physique, like really he don't blowing up where he looks stocky and blocky, and when he starts to lose detail, which are like his calling cards. I personally believe if the shoulders are like the same as past year and they are like a little bit suspicious, he's going to drop to fifth place. They are not going to drop him lower, but I have him on that place. And well, Derek, he is going to look really good. I really believe so, but as you can see here in the pictures, he is like out angling Harry Chupen, but he looks smaller than Harry Chupen. So he probably is going to look very similar to like a Harry, but not really like that strider. Or we don't really know. We will wait and see. But I have him at least in my top 6 because I think that he is top 6 material. Then Bonac just bring his best package in a long time, like as good as 2017, you can say, besides like the Gainu and the midsection. So after the improvements, the updates and the weight he disclosed, I really have him getting back to that top 5 and getting 4th place, somewhere around there, 4th to 3rd, depending on how Nick shows up. But I don't think Nick is going to be off. After seeing all the updates of Nick Walker, I really believe in the mutant. So personally, guys, I have him in 3rd place. It's going to probably be controversial, but after the improvement of the legs, the overall mass gain, he's going to be like around 10 pounds heavier at this year's Olympia, so it's going to be gnarly for Nick. And also, in his updates, you can see the lower back is starting to get that Phil Heath-esque density that it needs to really be there, with like not just the top of the top in the world, because he already has like one of the best packs, but really like top in terms of Hall of Fame backs, like with Ronnie's back, let's say, like with Phil Heath's back, that type of back. So I really believe he's going to get up in 3rd due to that, and also because he just lost like an inch and a half from his waistline, which is going to help him to look a lot better, and his leg, especially in the leg department, where he really needs the improvements. So I personally have him in 3rd place, and then you probably already know who my top 2 is, guys. Obviously, Brandon Curry and Big Ramy. And let me I have Brandon winning, as you can see, guys. Nah, just joking. Let's be honest. These 2 guys are going to be the top 2. If Brandon were to have like Phil Heath or like Kai Green legs, probably he will be winning, but that's not going to be the case. He's going to be really improved. That's why I think that he's not going to drop from the top 2. But after like what we have saw from Ramy and what Chad Nichols and Dennis James says about him, he's in the driver's seat. And guys, there are a lot of but a lot of competitors in this Olympia. I really going to love this competition. Especially, guys, with these top 2, they really represent what bodybuilding is about on this era. And I really like the top 2 of these guys. I don't know what do you guys think, but to be honest, this is a great top 2. This is a good rivalry. You just saw how Big Ramy hugged Brandon Curry when he won the 2nd title. Like, Brandon Curry was just giving him the hand like a good competitor. But Ramy was like, oh yeah! And he just hugged Brandon Curry like crazy. And I really like bodybuilding right now. It's a great time to be a fan of it. But well, guys, you know how the deal is. And you guys, let me know, what do you think about the predictions? Where do you have these guys placing? And please help me to fit the algorithm. That is going to really help me a lot. Guys, really, I want to know your thoughts about this. Where do you have everyone placing at this year's Olympia? And what do you think about my predictions about this 34-minute video? Wow, that's a long video.